The program. On the VA's website, it describes the RRTP this way: VA Residential Rehabilitation Treatment, sometimes referred to as inpatient residential or domiciliary care, provides comprehensive treatment and rehabilitation services to veterans with mental health conditions like post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, depression, and substance use disorder. The programs take a whole health approach to address challenges these veterans may experience, including medical concerns and social needs, such as employment and housing. The program provides these services 24/7 in a structured, supportive, and comfortable residential environment. For veterans experiencing an acute mental health crisis, VA provides immediate access to inpatient mental health care. Their goal is to empower each veteran to regain a lifestyle of self-care, independence, and personal responsibility. Also, according to a VA webpage, more than 27,000 veterans were treated at RRTPs in fiscal year 2024, and the VA has the bed capacities to serve even more. It also states that veterans who received residential treatment for substance use disorder had a 66% lower mortality rate in the 12 months following their screening for admission than veterans who did not. The too long didn't read version is an inpatient program for veterans with substance use or mental health issues. Intake. They tell you to limit your clothes to only 5 pairs of underwear, outfits, socks, etc. because space is limited. When you first get there, they take all your stuff and they wash and sterilize all your clothes and bedding. They take away your keys and keep them in the nurse's office, and they search you for contraband like drugs, alcohol, and weapons. You'll get a breathalyzer and urinalysis done on intake. Initial set of vitals will be taken, and then you'll sit down with a nurse practitioner, medication provider, and psychologist. You'll go through your backstory, talk about why you're there, and fill out surveys like the PCL-5, DAS-21, and audit. You'll get assigned a room, and they will give you pillows and blankets and linen if you didn't bring your own. They also give you a laundry basket to do your own laundry. You get free laundry soap from the nurse's station whenever you need it. They also give you a card key to get into the ward. The door is unlocked from the inside, but locked from the outside. There's a sign-out board by the door where you can move your magnet from in to different parts of the hospital, or whether or not you're at the regular programming or with your counselor. The first day, they don't make you go to any classes or appointments. I personally use this time to catch up on my sleep. The nurses would wake me up to eat, and they also do bed checks every hour if you're in your room. So that may wake you up also. Also, the first 2 or 3 days you're there, you can't go off the ward without a battle buddy. This was especially annoying for people who get in and they have to smoke. Length. The program runs between 6 and 8 weeks, but they have some special circumstances, like people who are on FMLA or medical leave for work, where you can do 28 to 30 days instead. Schedule. Every Monday morning, you'll hand in the previous week's schedule and get a new one for the upcoming week. If you don't have all your classes signed off on, then a couple things could happen. You won't be eligible for weekend pass, or you could be referred to the repair council, or you could even be ejected from the program entirely. When you get there, you're divided into red and green groups. So if you're in red, your roommate will always be green and vice versa. They do that so you aren't with your roommate constantly. Some classes are green only and some are red only, and then the rest are just combined for everyone. The activities you do range from recovery meetings like AA, NA, Dharma recovery, or even SMART recovery meetings. They also have classes on cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectic behavioral therapy, and acceptance and commitment therapy. They also did fun classes like aromatherapy, art therapy, music therapy, and we even got to participate in cooking classes at the Healthy Cooking Test Kitchen. You'll also get assigned your own personal counselor who you see once or twice a week. That's where you'll work through all your personal mental health issues. Hours. During the weekends, you have to be back in the ward by 2100, and you have to be in your room by 2300. You have to stay in your room between 2300 and 0530, except for using the restroom. And you can't leave the ward until 06 in the morning. Because the common areas are closed, they turn off all the lights, and I have woken up to other veterans like sitting in the dark eating snacks from the fridge by themselves. Speaking of food, you get 3 meals a day brought up into the ward. Breakfast is at 07, lunch is at 11:45, and dinner is at 1700. A nutritionist plans out the meals for the hospitals, but you can talk to her and have her put in exceptions for you. For example, I put no vegetables except corn and peas and no seafood or fish. So if the main course for dinner was like fried fish, like on Fridays, I would get instead a hamburger, turkey, or grilled cheese. In addition to the 3 meals a day, the fridge was stocked with like puddings, lunch meat, cheeses, juices, ice cream, and even caffeine free soda. If you touched that community bread or the community lunch meat, you had to wear examination gloves. They make you do that to prevent illnesses. Lots of veterans complained about the food, but I thought it was great. My only complaint was the small portions because each meal is supposed to chart out to about 700 calories. The portions were what I would call Filipino size, or about one third of what I consider a normal American portion. The nutritionist was willing to give me double portions, which anyone can request, but because of my weight issues, I wanted to stick to the 2100 calorie diet. Medical care. Weight and vitals are taken the first 3 days you are there, and then every Sunday, unless the provider wants more. For example, when I was in there, I was suffering from non pitting edema, and they had me take vitals for about 4 days while I started wearing the special edema socks they give you. In addition to the provider, you also had access to 24-hour nurses that were on staff. And if it was an emergency, you could just go downstairs to the ER. If it was something non critical but more advanced than the on duty nurse could handle, you would write down your name in one of the appointment slots on the board at the nurse's station, and the healthcare provider would talk to you. So work prep. Well, on Thursdays and Fridays every week, we would have work prep classes. One of the vocational counselors came in and talked about VRNE, CWT, resume review, and job placement services. CWT is the compensated work therapy, and I actually signed up to do that to clean the local VA clinic. It paid minimum wage, and the money wasn't taxable income. There are other jobs with CWT, but the one that was available to me was the one I took. Housing. Because some veterans enter without housing, the program lets veterans stay a little longer than 8 weeks so they can get settled into housing somewhere if they don't have it. One veteran I was in the program with got some type of HUD or government grant to have a free efficiency apartment for 2 years. VBA claims. The county VSO had an office in the hospital, so you could go down and work on the veterans benefit administration claims. While you're hospitalized, if you had a mental health rating with the VA, then you're eligible for Temp 100, where the VBA pays you at the 100% scheduler rate during the length of your hospitalization. My experience. I really believe my time at the Omaha VA's RRTP saved my life. They got my meds adjusted the first week I was there and got me on a normal sleep schedule and eating normal human sized meals. The counselor I had was great, and I feel like I learned some great tools to help me deal with my life. My thoughts of suicide virtually vanished while I was there, and I feel like they really helped jumpstart me back on the right path. My complaints. For a free program that costs $0 for veterans, I shouldn't complain at all. However, I'd be remiss if I didn't address a couple issues. One, not every veteran is there for the right reasons. Some are ordered by courts, and some just want a bed to sleep in and 3 hot meals a day. While this isn't the fault of the program, it's definitely something I felt myself struggling with while I was there. However, one thing I was taught while I was in the program was empathy. These are all veterans, and regardless of situations, they are struggling with the same issues we are. Another point of contention for me is that it wasn't separated by PTSD or substance abuse tracks. Even if you had no substance abuse issues, you're required to go to all the recovery AA substance abuse classes. And while that's a small price to pay for getting help wanting to kill yourself, I feel like it would be better to separate the tracks so people who are there for PTSD aren't wasting their time. However, for me personally, it was a good reminder of how alcohol ruined my life when I was younger, and it reminds me of the reasons I don't drink today. Overall, it was a great program, and I highly recommend it to any veteran who has either mental health issues or substance abuse issues. You can find out more information about the program by going to the link in the description or by talking to your VA provider who can get you a referral to the program.